Hi everybody and welcome to our second science session this week, and we have started to look at materials, haven't we? And in our first session we started to look at describing the properties of materials, and let's just see what you can remember from our previous learning. So you've noticed that I've blocked out some of the words here. See if you can remember what they might be. So write those down on a piece of paper now. Okay, so something, the word, if you are able to see through something clearly, then you would use the word transparent. If something is not so clear, then you would use the lovely word translucent. To describe glass, which is hard and rigid but easily broken, then you could describe that as being brittle. And something which is not flexible, which keeps its shape, is something which is rigid. And lastly, the saucepan is made out of metal, isn't it? And so it allows heat to come through. It is a thermal conductor. Move that out of the way. And it's not doing it. A thermal conductor. There we are. Right. So today we are going to be comparing soluble and insoluble materials. So we will learn that some materials will dissolve in a liquid and form a solution. They are known as soluble materials. Other materials do not dissolve in a liquid. They form a sediment. These materials are insoluble. So you are going to be investigating which materials are soluble and which materials are insoluble. Let's just have a little look more. So some people like to add sugar to their tea or coffee. So what happens to the sugar? And you must ask an adult to work with you here, or just ask if you are able to get a glass of lukewarm water. So you half fill a clear glass of water with lukewarm water. You add half a teaspoon of white sugar, stir slowly and watch what happens. Talk about what you see. So if you was to put the sugar in the water, you will see that the sugar seems to disappear when you stir into the water, but is actually still there. The sugar has dissolved in the water to form a transparent, clear solution. So sugar is a soluble material. And if you remember the word transparent, it means that we can see straight through. So the sugar is still there. It hasn't vanished. It's just broken down into the water. And we call that process as it's a soluble material. So soluble substances like white sugar dissolve in water to form a transparent, clear solution. A solution can be clear and coloured also. For example, when you dissolve honey into water, it creates a clear and coloured solution. Insoluble substances like sand do not dissolve. They often sink quickly to the bottom and form a sediment. So you can notice here that the sand has got to the bottom of the glass, and it hasn't formed a solution, has it? It hasn't mixed to form either a clear solution or a transparent solution like this. Some insoluble substances, like the particles of fine clay soil, do not sink quickly. The water looks cloudy. The sediment is suspended in the water. So it hasn't stuck to the bottom, it's perhaps sort of coming from the top there. So your task for today will be to investigate different materials that you can find in your kitchen. Now, you will need to ask an adult what materials you can use. Here are some suggestions. You could perhaps investigate salt, white sugar, brown sugar, flour, rice, lentils, maybe even pasta. And you are going to follow these instructions here. So you're going to, first of all, half fill your cup with your glass of water, your glass with lukewarm water, like that. It doesn't have to be plastic, it can be glass. You're going to add half a teaspoon of your first material. You're going to stir slowly for a minute and watch carefully to see what happens, and then you're going to stop stirring and watch again. You're then going to record your observations in a table and classify your substance as either soluble or insoluble. And then you're going to repeat and start with your other materials. So this is the chart that you can use. You're going to write the name of your material. So for example, you might put rice here. And then you're going to observe to see what happens when you put the rice in with the water. So does it create a solution or is it insoluble? Does it sort of become a sediment or does it become suspended? And then you are going to decide whether the materials are either soluble or insoluble. Okay, so your following steps then, you need to go and find some materials that you can investigate in your kitchen, and you'll need to ask an adult whether it's okay for you to use those materials. And then you are going to follow these instructions here. So put the material inside of the lukewarm water and see whether or not it is soluble or insoluble. So you will need to write down this chart, write the name of the material, and write down what happens and say whether it's soluble or insoluble. And you've got that word bank there to help you as well. Okay, so have fun with it, year fives. And if you can, take some photos of your observations. And if you want to do some more, then you can find out the properties of salty water. So you could explore, why is the sea salty? Do all seas and oceans have the same amount of salt? And you can use these websites here to help you find out why the sea is salty. You may have some more questions about the properties of salty water that you might want to find out. So have fun with it, and as always, I look forward to seeing your work.